What's up, guys? Noah here. We got a bit of a update on the Patreon for Broken Arrow yesterday, so I figured I would go through that. And as I was going through it, I was writing a script and I was going to make it like a short news video and stuff like that. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to combine a bunch of the video ideas that I had together, because there's some pretty significant stuff that could pop up in the coming weeks with the Raptor, as you guys have probably seen on the screen or in the title at some point here, or the thumbnail. It's going to be about the Raptor, and assuming that's going to be in the next spec reveal that we get, which we think is going to be U.S. Special Forces. I'm actually not sure if they've confirmed that yet. I think the only official word that we've gotten from them is that it is the next U.S. spec. But seeing as the badge that we got from the most recent trailer for the Striker Brigade there is literally the U.S. Special Forces, what would that be, patch or logo or whatever you want to call it, it's going to be U.S. Special Forces. So I think we'll do a bit of a dive on that, and we'll go through the stuff that's up on the Patreon so far, which is really our only information of official news. And in terms of official word from the devs themselves is over on that Patreon, which you can see everything for $1 a month. I can't say that enough, guys. If you are a true fan of Broken Arrow, go join the Patreon. $1 a month, you can see everything that we're going to be talking about here in today's video in HD and more, because obviously I don't talk about everything that's on the Patreon every single video. So $1 a month, go over there, link in the description, go check it out. Anyway, the post we got yesterday is saying, we are pleased to present to you the updated F-22 Raptor, specializing in long and medium range aerial combat, as well as answers to the most actual questions. In case you didn't realize there, and yes, that is, I'll even put it up on the screen, that is exactly what they said. So whoever is talking on their Patreon, English is most certainly not their first language. I'm going to go ahead and guess that this person is Eastern European or Russian, whoever they have at least writing this post. So I don't think it's Felix, aka FLX, who you usually see with anything that they're doing on the community side of things in terms of the press releases and the interviews and stuff like that. Getting a lot of flashbacks of Escape from Tarkov press releases and social media posts and stuff like that with the way that these people are talking, or whoever this is talking on their Patreon. So I'm going to go ahead and guess that this is one of the Russian devs, given the state of their English here. But we get the picture. They are pleased to present, and we are pleased to receive the Raptor. The Raptor is almost certainly going to be in that U.S. Special Forces deck. It is an absolute crime if they do not include the Raptor, but they did include the Su-57. One of the things that I was most worried about for the Raptor was its ability to reach out and touch at long ranges. And that is because if you actually go back to April 28th, 2022, they actually used one of the exact same pictures of the Raptor in that post, where they mentioned the fighter is capable of launching missiles, AMRAAM, Sidewinder, and dropping bombs, JATM, from internal compartments at supersonic speeds. So, AMRAAM, Sidewinder, we've seen both in the game already. That is certainly what is considered medium range and short range missiles in my mind, something that I will talk about in detail in my air-to-air combat tutorial video, which is going to need a bit of an update now that we've heard about the Raptor. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to get that video out by this weekend now, seeing as it is Saturday. Maybe I'll be able to get it out tomorrow, maybe not. I'll see what I can do with that one there, but it's not the end of the world. Again, the reason why I'm doing all these tutorials right now is because I would like to get them as accurate as possible and get them as detailed as possible, so that when the game is playable again, which we'll get to some details on that here in a second, you guys are going to be able to go back and watch those, whereas when we're actually being able to play the game, I can stream or I can put up direct gameplay, and then if you guys have questions, if you guys are newer to the game, if you want some tips or something like that, then I can go to videos that I've already got ready to go and you guys can check them out. So ideally, these tutorial videos, they're not the most helpful that they can be, because you guys can't play. You can't take the information that I'm giving you and then go and immediately use it, or even hell, watch it while you're trying to play at the same time or something like that. It's so you can come back and watch it later, or that I can refer to these at a later date. And something that is going to need an update here is, going back to what I was speaking to a second ago, is if you look at the old post, it does say AMRAAM Sidewinder. Again, AMRAAM being medium range, Sidewinder being short range. With this new post, they say specializing in long and medium range aerial combat. The Sidewinder is absolutely not medium range. So what I think is happening here is, because it says specializing in long and medium range aerial combat, the R-37 is a thing for Russia at 8 kilometers for its launch distance for their Russian fighter jets. The AIM-174 is a thing for the F-18 now, and I believe, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, this is also useful for my air-to-air video, because I I forget, and I don't have any direct footage at hand for this. I believe the AIM 174 was also 8 kilometers. I think what's happening here is I think they're giving the Raptor the AIM 260. So the AMRAAM is the AIM 160. I think they are giving the Raptor the AIM 260, which is the JATM, JATM. Sorry for the flashbang there if you guys are checking out what I found for information, quick info on the AIM 260. Everybody seems to like their white backgrounds for a lot of these government websites. So the AIM 260 is significantly longer range. It's our most up-to-date long-range air-to-air missile when it comes to... Actually, correction, that might not be... I don't think it's newer than the AIM 174, but they actually mentioned the AIM 174 in this article as well. So I just think it's funny timing-wise because literally the day they talked about the Raptor and that long-range specialty, there was also these articles coming out that the U.S. Navy confirms AIM 260 JATM, JATM testing is ongoing. So if you guys know Broken Arrow, you know they're no stranger to using weapons and vehicles that are currently in testing or prototype in the game. In fact, there's a couple of things coming with the Striker Brigade that literally don't exist, one of which being that self-propelled gun for the Striker. That thing doesn't exist. They're actually not going to end up making that, and they're going to go ahead and add it. Same thing for the Armada series. Those things clearly aren't being used. They are not, active in the war with Ukraine, and if they were ready, if they actually were usable, obviously they would be over there. Somebody would have seen something. There would be some combat footage or something going on with that. So I think it's a good idea for the sake of balance, for the sake of fun too. Like, these are cool things to have. And going back to my topic of hero units that I talked about the other day, that is almost certainly a hero unit item. So although the Raptor is pretty stealthy, I don't think it would be anything crazier than what we already have with the F-35 or the Su-57. I understand that in real life, its stealth capabilities are greater than both of those airframes, but stealth alone, with the balance, with the scaling that we see in Broken Arrow, I don't think it would have been good enough. So thankfully, what they're doing is, in my opinion, the correct thing, which is giving it a long-range munition with the AIM 260A. Again, not confirmed, but I think that is what they are doing. It makes sense. We've got information that can back that up, and now all we have to do is wait and see if that's actually what they're doing. So I think, again, what they're doing is they're allowing the Raptor to be able to hold these AIM 260s. Now, what we haven't seen yet are the side sponson. There's like these stealthy sponsons that they've been adapting, or they've been upgrading the Raptor to be able to hold extra weapons. And we've already got confirmation from the previous post that it's going to be able to drop bombs. Now, the newest post doesn't mention that. It just says specializing in long and medium range aerial combat. Perhaps it does not drop bombs anymore. Maybe with the update where they've made it able to use the AIM 260, if they are going to do that, maybe they perhaps took away the ability for it to drop JDAMs or anything like that too. We're going to have to wait and see on that end of things. But I ain't complaining. We've got plenty of other airframes for the United States that can drop bombs, that can use Mavericks, that can do whatever we need it to do when it comes to air to ground. I'm completely okay if it means we get the AIM 260, if it means that we can make a loadout for the Raptor that has a long range, medium range, and short range missile threat attached or equipped, whatever you want to call it, at its disposal. I think that's way more important. So really cool to see that bit of a tease there. We're going to have to wait and see if they confirm it or not. We'll have to see what's going on with that, with what I presume to be a teaser for the American Special Forces deck later this month. Now, last month we got the Striker Brigade on February 28th. We are exactly 2 weeks away from seeing that same date for this month. So I think it's possible we are 2 weeks away. I think it's possible we get a tease, a real tease of the deck itself next Friday. And then we get the actual release of it. We get the actual full teaser, or what would you call it, trailer, like we did with the Striker Brigade the Friday afterwards. So 2 weeks away, I presume, for that. Now, in today's post, they also mentioned, is there any change in the release date? No, the release will take place in June. So as of right now, no change in the release date. They are not pushing it back. They are not delaying it again. Anybody out of the know? We've been waiting for this game for 5 years. So anybody that really knew the game, that really followed the space, this is 5 years coming. So luckily they put a day out there, or they put a month out there, with June, and it's stuck around for a while. So hopefully they actually stick with June. And the second question is about a beta test. What about the new open beta test? And it says, we think that the team should not be distracted. So the nearest opportunity to play will be in June. And, that's the full release. So I think that's a bad idea. I think that they absolutely should get some proper testing in on the server side of things. They get some proper testing in on stress testing those servers because that's been a significant issue in the past. I do not see them just releasing the game and just seeing what happens. It's possible they do that, and then they give us a bit of a warning being like, hey, heads up, a lot of people like this game. We're not exactly sure what we should set up with the servers or whatever. They probably won't say that. They'll probably, maybe they make it some kind of quick release, or maybe they say that there's more to come or we'll be active or something for the next couple of months or something like that. We're looking to get some proper testing to the servers. I don't know, but the reason why you put out those early tests is so that you can stress test the servers. One of those things being stress tests for servers. So I really hope something like that happens. But at the end of the day, what actually would happen if they quote unquote release the game and it's so popular, or the server infrastructure is in a place where it can't handle the amount of activity on the game, and then that causes issues? What does that actually do for the grand scheme of things? Because it's not like there's any other game like this out there right now. If you guys want to cry about Warno or about any of those other games, I mean, you're just have fun playing what you want to play, for sure. It's it's your own time, but those games clearly are not like Broken Arrow. They're just not on the same level. They're just not, especially with the amount of development in place, with how long Warno's been out, and how it's already been crept up on by Broken Arrow at release, quote unquote release, what its capabilities are, and there hasn't been any transfer of money yet either. So we'll see what the actual funding behind Broken Arrow would end up doing in terms of maybe they can expand the team and things like that. But onboarding a lot of new players, onboarding a lot of new devs onto a project like this is not always a good thing. It's too many cooks in the kitchen kind of a thing. So we'll see what ends up happening with that. But yeah, as far as we know right now, no new test. I think that's a bad idea. I think we should at least get something out there so that we'd be able to get some numbers on what's going on with their server infrastructure. But they seem to be pretty confident that they're good to go, because the third part of this is what's in store for us at release and beyond. And the answer here is we've achieved noticeable performance improvements, including almost complete eliminations of FPS drop. Of course, many decisions on multiplayer and cheaters will be tested in the summer. Seems that this summer will be hot for our team. We have high hopes for the single-player campaign, because from the beginning we took it seriously, not as a campaign for a tick. The same applies to the possibility to play with friends against the computer. Not everyone is ready for dynamic multiplayer, and we have something to offer you. As I mentioned earlier, the release is not the endpoint in our work. It is a new important stage of Broken Arrow development, and we will do everything to make the project grow and develop. We will definitely publish a roadmap with the game development and upcoming DLC later. Have a good weekend, and see you next week. So yeah, again, definitely not, a English speaker when it comes to this stuff, and pretty much everything that we've heard before from every dev on the planet when it comes to recent releases or upcoming releases, things that they're not quite sure about, things that they need to test, stuff like that. It's a lot of words. We're gonna have to wait and see for ourselves. The complete elimination of FPS drop kind of thing, I'm skeptical about, because that's specific to every player's PC. If you have an older laptop and you're trying to play Broken Arrow, you're probably going to get some FPS drops. So it's probably going to have some issues pop up. So saying stuff like that is always opening a door for some issues down the line, because it's just not true. You're going to still get FPS drops. It doesn't matter. Even if they've built it perfectly, Joe Schmo in Idaho is going to find a way to play on a toaster, and you're going to get FPS drops, and then you're going to have issues. Someone's going to try and play on a fridge. But anyway, we'll see what that ends up looking like. I'm more worried about the cheaters, and I'm more worried about the server infrastructure. But if they did a test, it wouldn't be a good idea to do the anti-cheat for that test. So I'm curious how they're going to handle that specifically. And it really seems like they're not focusing on balance for multiplayer. So that's going to be something that's going to be a bridge we'll have to cross if anybody listening is interested in that. I, of course, am. I get why they're not doing it. I guess it's more of a topic for another day. because with a game like this, at a time like this, I agree. It's a good idea to bring in fresh blood, to bring in more players. So releasing the game in a more noob-friendly state, which would be not PvP, that would be the single player, that would be the campaign, that would be the co-op, that would be the scenario editor, so that you guys can all turn it on easy and see stuff blow up. And then maybe you can trickle into the multiplayer later when they've got more time to figure out, new player entry into multiplayer, so that it's not just you getting smoked constantly. Because as good as you guys are, where if you are a newer player to Broken Arrow, to be going and looking for videos like mine or anybody's out there that are trying to teach you something about the game and not just going in there to see stuff blow up on multiplayer, end up losing all your units, and then somebody on your team that may or may not be taking the game seriously or would like to take the game seriously sees you throwing your points away, ends up losing the game, causes more issues there. It's always been a problem, always, and what I mean always is it's the other games. We've got World in Conflict and Wargame, specifically Wargame Red Dragon. Those were the two biggest inspirations for this game, with some of the devs directly coming from Wargame Red Dragon, but everybody being fans of World in Conflict. That's the vibe that they're trying to put on there, and both of which were pretty chaotic when it comes to multiplayer. Or I guess no, it was passionate. There was a passionate community for both of those games. I actively played both of those games. I'm old enough, so, believe it or not, based off my voice or whatever, I am old enough to have played in the heyday of World in Conflict. I loved World in Conflict. Absolutely loved it. That was behind things like, of course, Command & Conquer, Civilization, Total War, the Age of Empire stuff. World in Conflict has always been in my heart for one of my best, or one of my favorite RTS games. And there's a lot of niche, nuance, meta things that can pop up in that game. And there's a hell of a lot of niche, nuance, meta things that can pop up in Wargame. And if you're somebody like myself, like most of my actual gamer friends, you've got thousands, not dozens, not hundreds, but thousands of hours in those games, particularly Wargame, that new players to Broken Arrow just absolutely cannot touch. A lot is similar between Broken Arrow and Wargame. Essentially, all of the tactics, the baits, the whatever, the understanding of the units, it comes from Wargame. It's essentially the same. Understanding ATGMs, knowing the weapon systems, knowing the vehicles, knowing the player tendencies of these games, it's all Wargame. So I get it. It's going to be unfortunate. It's not an ideal situation for a fan like me of the game, but I think it's going to be better down the road that we bring in more noobs at the beginning. They get hooked onto it. They start to understand how to play the game. They start to understand what to do. And then hopefully they dip their toe in multiplayer. And then by then there's some kind of new player onboarding process that actually works to bringing players into the multiplayer, or maybe it's some kind of matching system or something that would make it better for them. They talked about a roadmap here. If I had to guess, there's going to be more specs coming, seeing as they've got naval units, they've got other planes, they've got other tanks, things like that they don't seem to have a home in specs as it stands. Specifically with the United States, there's a lot of naval units which probably aren't coming to the U.S. Special Forces spec, so that means that they're not going to be in multiplayer at release, I presume. So they're going to be adding other specs. We've seen some other nations' units before. I presume they'll be going that route at some point, as long as they finish off what they've got for the United States and Russia first. I would also assume they've got new locations, maybe some better mod support here and there for certain things, as well as just updates to the game, whatever bugs might pop up, whatever issues might pop up. We'll see what happens with that roadmap, as well as DLC. So that was the Raptor. It's also what I presume to be a tease for the JATM, for the Raptor getting the JATM. I would assume that if the Raptor got the JATM, it's also the EX would get the JATM as well. The F-15 EX would get the JATM as well, but maybe not. At least the Raptor will be getting it. I would hope to be able to put it on the same playing field, literally, as the Su-35S and the Su-57 with Russia. We'll see if the other F-35s that they're going to be adding, or maybe the F-16s, maybe the newer F-16s, anything like that would end up getting it. But that's all just speculation. I'm not actually sure, other than the Raptor. Hell, we're not even sure that the JATM's actually coming, but that's probably what they're talking about. If they're going to add the AIM-174, they're probably going to add the JATM. It makes sense. It tracks. Game's not delayed again, yet, at least. They don't seem to want to do a test before that release in June. They seem to be making some good progress. They don't seem to value multiplayer very much. And we're going to be hearing more from them next week. I presume a tease of the U.S. Special Forces deck, so more on that later. But anyway, that's all for now, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Stay tuned for my air-to-air combat video. I've also got a bunch of other games that I could post. I posted a few over the last few days. Go check those out for some gameplay. Really need the support over here, guys. If you liked this, if you're still watching, please subscribe. If you're not, please like the video. Comment what you think about this topic that we talked about today, any of the topics really, or any questions that you might have. You can also share the video with a friend who sucks at Broken Arrow. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching. Hope you have a nice day. See you guys.
На приеме.
Yeah, I'll get some more. Let's clean these guys out, I guess.
На связи. Выдвигаемся на новую позицию. Есть подавить цель. Гамов слушает. Координаты принял. Вертушки на приеме. Транспорт заказывали? Разведка на связи. Армейская авиация слушает. Армейская авиация слушает. Камов на связи. Заходим на 6. Камов на приеме. Воздух слушает. Беру в бою. Дым пошел. Отряд спецназа ГРУ на связи. Ведем бой. Транспорт здесь. Нужно сбить вертолет? ПВО, слушай. Сближаемся.
That's probably gonna die, but hey, fuck it. Let's see what happens. Why does that hurt? Did they get through with a seed run, I guess?
Куда вас доставить? Да, командир. Куда вас довезти? Да. Понял, принял. Выдвигаемся. Вертикальная на связи. Снижаюсь. Штурмуем позицию. Транспорт на связи.
Get it. Get it. Aw.
Камов на связи. Транспорт ждет приказа.
Oh, oops.
Армейская авиация слушает. Возвращаемся домой. Дома есть кто-нибудь? Армейская авиация слушает. Следим за небом. Разведка слушает. Выше нас только звезды. Принял, выхожу. Куда вас довести? Транспорт здесь. Вижу контакт. Быстро. Грузовик снабжения готов к транспортировке. Противовоздушная оборона. Слушаю.
Can't really do much about that quickly.
Спецназ ГРУ на приеме.
Turn these guys' guns off in case they get through. You should not be pushing that, Chief. What are you doing? Oh shit, you're still out?
Координаты. Вооружение бомбы. Транспорт, слушаю. Уже еду. Армейская авиация слушает.
Nice. Sheesh. Ah. Now, get those guys moving over here.
Куда вас доставить? ПВО, докладываю. Заводи мотор. Транспорт здесь.
Close enough. Let's go. We got 4.
Двигаюсь к точке.
Get out of the way!
Выдвигаемся. Приказ понял. Едем. Камов на связи. Есть подавлять огнем. Куда вас довести? Транспорт в бою, жду приказов. Транспорт ждет приказов. Приказ понял, выезжаем. Куда вас доставить? Уже еду. Пути. Транспорт здесь. Транспорт на связи. Транспорт заказывали? Выдвигаемся. Приказ понял. Едем. Вертушки на приеме. Противовоздушная оборона здесь. Вертушки здесь. Транспорт, слушаю. ПВО ждет целей. Аллигатор на связи. Транспорт на связи.
And get that back. Shit.
Противовоздушная оборона. Докладываю. Куда вас довести? ПВО, слушай. Да, командир, принял новый ППМ. Подстригаю деревья.
Oof. That sucks the Patriot can't shoot at helicopters.
Принял. Принял новый ППМ. Понял. Выполняю. Предельная тяга. Возвращаемся на аэродром. Штурмуем позицию. Куда вас доставить? Двигаюсь к точке. Здесь вражеские вертолеты не пролетали. Камов на приеме. Транспорт ждет приказа. Вертикальная на связи. Армейская авиация слушает. Пусть еще поживут. ПВО, докладываю. Камов слушает. ПВО на связи. Транспорт заказывали? Атакуем на ходу. Аллигатор на связи.
Yeah, that was a somewhat textbook push through. I wish that there had been some ATGMs and stuff. There was actually a game earlier today where the footage was lost because I did not have enough room on my drive to save it. That was just the best
Куда вас доставить?
game I have ever had with these T-15s that I had recorded. It's if I had just not been a dumbass and checked to make sure I had enough room on the drive, I'd have it, probably post it today. But I screwed up. We don't have it. And what it was jockeying with two T90Ms and 6 T15s in groups of 2. So just like one group goes up, bunch of ATGMs, get them to fire, one of them pops smoke in the group of 2, then pull back. Just lots of tanks, lots of ATGMs, sent a couple of helicopters, and it just munched it all. I might have lost like 1 or 2 T15s during the whole ordeal, but just munched it. And it was Russia versus Russia, so they were sending T15s and armadas. They had a bunch of armadas too, so. Gonna see if I can talk to some of my editor friends. Maybe there's a way that I can save some of the footage. I don't know. I think it's corrupted thoroughly, but perhaps there is a way. Perhaps. But, just picture this, except the person actually brought ATGMs. Because there really is not much anybody can do about T-15s. They are too strong for the price point, methinks. But I mean, that's just Russia's thing. If any of these guys that we were playing here had brought Mavericks, and if they focus down our AA net, there is a way. There is a way. You need to get with your teammates. You need to bring some tanks. You need to not let the tanks die. And trust me, I've spammed enough T-15s in my day to have them all wiped out by air spam, helicopters, tank spam, combination of all three. Can be done. Right now, the main thing are ATGM planes. ATGM planes mince these. I hit with one, they're out of the fight. Hit with one in the back, they're done. Hit with two, they're done. And you can get two and four in some configurations with some planes. And who did I fight with the Harriers for that Harrier video? Was it Russia? Forget if I killed any T-15s with that. Show off a bit of the Mavericks there on that one. This game's over. I only got one engine. Wait, if I afterburner it, is that two? Oh, what the? Yeah. Solid. What do we do? Oh, sheesh. AA did a little bit. Did a little bit. It's just funny, like the first seed missile that actually went at it. Sometimes you hit, sometimes you miss. That grabbed a bit. I tell you what, if I get a better game, this one will do, but if I get a better game, I'm definitely posting it, but I have a feeling that with my luck, I will not have another game like I had earlier today. Where it was just the perfect push through a front line with jockeying, smoke, ATGMs, tanks, infantry. It was just great. But that's a somewhat you can kind of get the idea. I don't think I ran into a single ATGM. Um, went around some tanks, so you saw a little bit. Oh, you saw a glimpse of getting rushed by T-15s. Make sure you get the rear shots on them, or at least the side shots. Unfortunately, that just took forever for one of them to aim. So I don't know what was going on with that, but I could have microed the one that died a little bit better probably. But if I didn't push like that, it probably would have been a few more minutes before my teammates had pushed through there, because me pushing through there and making all the commotion and distracting them allowed them to push up there, hurt tanks and stuff like that, and then finish off there. So that was solid. You gotta seize the day a little bit on some of those, because I could tell, oh, that artillery is shooting like, I don't know, 500 meters to my right. That's pretty close after I had just taken this tree line. Let's just go see what's up there. And it was a bunch of hurt tanks. And lo and behold, whoever that was not paying attention and did not know that I took that tree line over there. So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I had a little bit of AA behind me. I probably could have had something better if they had gone after me with planes. Actually, I was expecting them to go after me with planes way heavier, and they didn't. That would have been my weakness there. If they had plane spammed, I feel like it would have been a different story. They had brought some ATGM planes too. A lot of those planes were able to get on target, but they just weren't doing any damage. They were dropping bombs in the wrong place and stuff like that. So I think if they were able to be sneaky with some recon, keep eyes on, and get some ATGMs on me, that would have been bad from planes in particular. It's a solid deck. This is probably my go-to deck right now. Even though it's called 15 and BVM. I don't know if I've spawned a single BVM from this deck. I like that the price is similar to the T-15s, so that's why I put them in here. But I keep buying arenas because APS. Or 290Ms, I mean. But they're almost 100 more expensive. They're almost 100 more, so. Yeah, alright. Well, hey. Thank you guys very much for watching. Stay tuned for more. Hope you have a nice day. See you guys.